Every visionary has a story to tell. These stories educate and inspire us all.
You could hear them cranking up in the morning and hear the click, click, click of the roller coaster.
It's really feeling satisfied and feeling gratified with bringing happiness to young children, especially families.
Working with people who are having a good time is so much better than any other job.
Join us as we learn from these trailblazers.
I was looking for a business that was not too competed, and Mexico was starting at the time. So this could be a potential possibility to start with a business that nobody was in really formally. I started when I was 23 years old. I was invited to build a ride. It was called Spider Web. That's how I started. It was a ride that the kids jump in beds of elastic bands. And it was an interesting idea. It was a little dangerous. No, I built it in a standalone location. And from there, I built a very small park surrounding the ride. Eventually, we took the spider web out, but the park stayed. That's how I started. Divertido was the name of the park. I was finishing school, business administration, but I had to go out of the university because I was deeply involved in this thing, and I was bankrupt 3 times before I finally opened it. That's how I really formally started in the business. This has been my own business for the last the only business I've been in for the last 25 years. Immediately after I opened the Spider Web, I started to invite carnival guys to come and be with us with their small rides to build a small little park in Mexico City. And that's how I really started. Eventually, I built a park in Guadalajara with the same idea. A lot of concessionaries at the park, small parks, amusement parks. And then came the process of buying our concessionaries out and really building the company where it is today. I was in those very first meetings when the Americans decided to invite the internationals to be part of their association. The IAAPA was really an American association. It was a decision of a group of brave men that they took the formal decision of opening the doors for internationals and then becoming the leaders of their association. When you hear it, it looks like simple, but it's not so simple. We built the manufacturers, we gave them the strength because we were buying from them. Suddenly an Italian was selling to Mexican carnivals. That would never happen because of us coming to the show and connecting people and having drinks at night, and the business matured immensely. And that's because of this association. But they graciously invited us, and they invited us then, eventually, to their leadership positions, up to a point that I was a chairman of the association. The first time I came here, I was a Mexican. I was 23 years old, or 26 years old, and I showed up to a show. And 10 years after that, I was being elected to be the first vice chairman of the association. And that only happens here in America. It changed dramatically the situation in Latin America, because then the Latin Americans heard and understood and believed then that they could also be part of this equation. And then we had another Latin American 3 years after, Alan Baldacci, and leaders are coming. Leaders from Latin America are coming, and eventually we'll go through the chairs again. So it's a matter of believing. Suddenly it could happen. Then you see it's happening, I can do it, so everything moves. I've always thought that being a Latin American player in the Latin American market, there's a clear equation that you cannot go over that, because if you overinvest in this business, especially the overinvestment is what it kills this business. You can see a lot of examples all over the world that the park has been owned by one company, then went bankruptcy, then another, and then the third one that bought it for $2 is the one that really survives. No? Like what happened in the hotel industry a lot. No? In our industry, it's more or less the same. So I see Latin American players playing in smaller scale amusement parks in good locations because they know the market very strongly. And I see the international players playing the theme park, big parks in Latin America. As we see it today, no? We see Six Flags in Mexico City. It's the one that really owns a big theme park. And they had, when they bought it and they put $50 million on it to buy it and then another 50 of rights. And that's a situation that only a big company can do and not a national player. No? On the other hand, you can have a much better location with a strong amusement park, and then you can balance your numbers. No? For me, in my first 10 years strongly in the association, I formed the Mexican Association in 1885. We formed the Mexican Association. And at the time, the president of the IAAPA was Dennis Spiel. And he was a mentor for he was a mentor for the Latin American associations. He pushed us, very bright man, very intelligent, very aggressive, and he pushed us to stay, to make things happen, pushed the Brazilians to do their association. They did ADIBRA, so we had the IMAP, we had ADIBRA. Eventually we did the Latin American Association, and then he pushed us to come to the board, and he forced me to, when I was invited to the board, I didn't want to come to the board. I was terrified. I'm not going to do that board. I'm 29 years old with all these big guys, and he absolutely forced me to come in. So Dennis was a mentor for me, no question about that, in the association. Then, of course, I met fantastic guys in the way of life. No, I met fantastic guys like Jeffrey Thompson, for example, Bob Masterson, Jane Cooper, a lot of big guys that were a good influence for me in my job as chairman. John Roberts. He was a great guy. It's like a big family in the end. John Graff was fantastic, very close friend of mine too. So we are a big family, really. So the industry has really changed a lot. And the consolidation has been the most dramatic change in the industry. Every park has had its own family business owned, and suddenly you have companies that are owning 90 parks or 35 parks. So the leaders of the industry are suddenly gone. New guys come in, and a lot of them coming from the financial side. They don't understand profoundly the business, but they are controlling because they're buying. I don't think any industry in the world has such a correlation with its association, and I believe that our industry does. That the industry has evolved because our association has evolved tremendously. The IAAPA has helped all the industry to know the players, to understand the market, to understand the business, to learn about everybody. So our business has one thing that it's very peculiar, and it helps us a lot. And it is that the parks are located in different if a park is in another country or in another city, it never competes with you. So you can sit down with your peers and can talk and can discuss, and they can help you and you can help them. And that helps a lot, no? I don't think any park in the world today cannot survive formally if it doesn't have the super support that the IAAPA structure gives us, no? I've never been in any other industry but ours, no? Been 25 years now. And I don't know if there's any industry in the world, really, that an association can affect dramatically the industry. And this is the case of the IAAPA. It really changed our industry for everybody, for operators, for manufacturers, for employees, for owners, for everybody. It was because of this association.